Okay, now you can hear me. So hi everybody. Hi Sharona.
Good morning, Tamar.
Such a nice morning to start with a thought, isn't it?
Every morning's a good morning to start with some powerful thoughts.
Yeah,
And before we do that, we take our moment of silence. It doesn't have to be a silence outside. There is a space inside us, beyond the mind, where beautiful feelings flow. So just to turn my awareness inwards, as if reaching to the bottom of the ocean, where the currents are smooth and gentle and calm.
so thank you for that.
Before I share the thought for today, I have a question for you. What do you feel, or what is your experience as to the greatest power in creation, the greatest power in the universe?
It's better to start a morning with a question than a thought. Wow.
It makes you think.
Yeah, it makes me smile because I start looking at all those things we have in power. And I'm close to the sea, and the sea is full of enormous power. And you can see the streams of thoughts, and you see there's so much in it, and it's like one entity, but it builds out of a lot. There's a lot of waves in the ocean, right? In the sea, and it's one sea, and it's a huge, it's enormous power. So when I'm thinking about the thoughts and I'm thinking about the sea, and that we have a lot of powers, but together, something about the togetherness, about the whole entity we are with our thoughts and all the thoughts we have feels like a great power.
Yeah, that image, the image alone is very powerful, especially thinking about the sea and how the sea is actually made up of drops of
Yeah,
water, but then all together see what happens.
yeah.
So the thought for today is accumulate the power of thought. Accumulate the power of thought and become an instrument for world service. Your image almost explains the whole thing. You want to put that into Hebrew?
Yeah, so אני אתרגם את זה לעברית. צברו את כוח המחשבה והפכו לכלי שרת, לשרת את העולם. It's a huge role you just added here to the equation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something I would never, ever have been aware of before my spiritual practice. And I'm sure it's the same for most of us. We would not realize how much power there is in a thought. I mean, we just go through our day thinking. I think by now a lot of people have understood that there's a lot more thinking than what is healthy for the brain or the mind or the soul. Overthinking. But the number of thoughts, the quality of my thinking, I never imagined it was anybody's business or had anything to do with anything because it was so inside me. And then the world was outside me, relationships, responsibilities. And who can know what's in my thoughts? But with my spiritual practice, I have become aware of how it's actually thoughts which are the greatest power in the universe. Take the most marvelous invention, you know, the vaccine against smallpox, for example, or I don't know, airplanes, or even the beautiful masterpieces we might have on our wall. Actually, everything in the room we're sitting in at some point was a thought in someone's head. It all starts with a thought.
Yes, it all starts with a thought, but I think the thought that you gave is even aims for even a greater power. Because like you said in the metaphor of the sea, a drop and another drop. So the vaccine starts with a thought, but then there should be another thought and another thought. Because if your next thought was, oh, that's a stupid idea, we wouldn't have the vaccine today.
Exactly.
So we need to accumulate. And the thing is, I think, which kind of sea we want to emerge.
Exactly.
What do we want to build here? And what do we want to accumulate?
That's right.
But then again, every thought accumulates. So how do we keep the good balance?
Well, it's just a question of, first of all, knowing what's a good thought. What's a good thought? A good thought is a thought which uplifts and sustains something divine, something good in myself, in others, and in situations. And that's why we need a spiritual practice. It's not a luxury. It's not like something to do if I have free time. It's so important to give good food for thought to the mind. Otherwise, it's just used to all this junk food for thought. You know, what someone said, what someone didn't do, what's happening out there. The mind is so used to eating that. It's just like, I don't remember if we ever talked about this, but the analogy is what happens to me when I go off my no sugar diet. You know, it's just a matter of time before I need that sugar. And I'm always going after the cookies and the cakes and the whatevers instead of the peas, the potatoes, the carrots, the protein, the carbs, which are healthy. So this junk food for the mind becomes an addiction. We can't control it. So some determination is needed, some real menu of healthy food for thought is needed, and then I just have to apply my love for myself and get myself on track.
You know, I think first of all, it's the basis of our program. I think this thought for today, it's the notion why we started with this program. Start to accumulate the thoughts that you want to.
Yeah.
And then I have to say, I think the main word, like you said in the beginning, I wasn't aware of that. People are not aware how much they can manage their thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think the thought of the day and the word accumulate, when you say accumulate, right away I think of an account. It could be a bank account. And when I have this analogy to a bank account, then I can not look at my bank, the expenses and the income, and let it go by itself. Do we do that? At least once a month we look at it, but usually even more than that, especially when times are needed. Maybe when you have a lot of money, you don't check it all the day. But especially when you're in days where you have less income, then you look more because you need to manage it better. And I think that's what happens today. We need to manage our thought better. Now, maybe we can't control our thoughts. We can talk about that. That's an interesting question. But maybe we cannot control them, but we can manage them. Mm-hmm. And I think even having the awareness that it's our duty to manage, and if we're talking bank account, I think our thought account is the account that accounts the most. I don't even know how to say it, because that affects the way we live tremendously. We can have no money and feel rich because that's the way we think. So I really think that when you understand the accumulation power of that, it's not only the power of a thought, but accumulating it, you start managing. And then you can decide, comes a bad thought. Do I repeat it? Do I tell it to a friend? Do I say it to myself again? Am I stuck there? Or do I say, I hear you, please go?
That's right.
Or let it go, let it flow. Not even talk to it. Not even say, go away. Just, like when a guest comes and you don't want him to stay long, you don't start arguing with him. You just let him dry out next to you and he goes. So it's an analogy because a lot of times I think about thoughts as guests. Okay. So give power to the thoughts you do. That's managing. Give them promotion. Adapt to them. Don't give power. Maybe that's the word. Just don't give power to negative thoughts. Yeah. And then it accumulates. It's more than the power of a thought. It's the power of accumulating thought.
Yeah, I agree. And I can tell you that one thing I do because one thing that happens when good thoughts which uplift, they're aligned to a larger picture, when those start accumulating, you can start seeing more quickly and more easily thoughts which are not aligned, thoughts which don't uplift. And because, literally, the vibrational frequency of a happy thought, truly happy, based on, working from the larger picture, doing good karma, that energy is coming back to you. That gives a kind of power, and you have the ability to push that old thing away, the unpowerful thought. And so one trick that I use is I'm just sitting or I'm just enjoying my life, and some oddball thought enters. It could be something that I used to think about someone. It could be something, any of that list of stuff which really just depletes you. I just pretend like it's a bothersome encyclopedia salesman at the door. I don't know in Israel if they have bothersome insurance salesman or encyclopedia salesman, but they just take up your time. You have no intention of buying an encyclopedia or insurance from somebody going door to door. So it's annoying. You answer the door once, but if they come back the next day and come back the next day, next hour, next moment, you just call out, I'm busy, thanks, but no thanks. You don't even bother, as you were saying, to open the door. And I have found that that allows me to stay in my space, keep all that other stuff outside of my space, and continue that accumulation. And What's interesting is that, like I was just alluding to, the power that happens when uplifting thoughts connected to the larger picture, when they start accumulating, is the influence and the effect of that is not just on me. It's not just on my relationships or how I'm taking up my responsibilities. That's a frequency which can actually reach all four corners of the globe. And that's very exciting because that makes me an activist for world change, even without moving a finger, actually. And we are concerned about the world. We're very, very concerned about the world. But to think that it could all start with a thought, and then, as you say, the follow-up on that thought. Vibrationally, that's what has to change first. And again, we don't need 8 billion people to do this work, just enough for the tipping point.
It's amazing how much we can speak of a thought. You know, you started a whole other section of the thought, which we didn't even talk about today, and we're not going to have time to discuss it more deeply. And I think we need a thought for 2 days or 3 days because we can talk about it so much. But yes, I think the point of managing our thoughts, understanding that we have the power to manage them, not control, but manage them, starts with awareness to them. You know, like we check our bank account, check for 1 minute a day, check what are your thoughts. Just, you know, some people do it by like writing, intuitive writing, and they can see their thoughts, but you can just check your thoughts. And I think the other thing is important to know about it is like attention. We said it once, where you put your attention, the energy grows, energy flows where, and the minute you start putting your attention to welcoming good thoughts and ignoring bad thoughts, and I'm not talking about, you know, not looking at the picture, but I'm saying, what do we give power to? It's something different. And the nice thing is, like you said, we start seeing when there's a thought that is not aligned with us. But the other nice thing that happens, we start having more good thoughts.
Right.
That's the whole thanks, hodaya routine that people usually have, like saying 3 things in the morning, appreciation. Because once you start your morning with 3 thank you notions, it grows during the day.
It's a different energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to end with a thank you energy for all that.
Wow, 20 minutes have gone by already? Okay, so that's good. We take a silence. And it's so interesting because it will be a thought filled with peace, gratitude, some uplifting thought, which will just carry me vibrationally to that very sweet, pure space deep within.
Thanks, Sharona.
Thank you,
And thank you,
Tamar.
everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Going to accumulate until tomorrow.
Yeah, watch out what you're accumulating. You want an account of plus, not minus.
Completely. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.